Hey guys, welcome to the Yoder Homestead. So today I'm going to show you my dream garden. It's here, it's done, it's exciting. I want to bring you guys along and show you the finished product of where we're at right now. But the videos that are going to be coming after this are going to be things that I've been planting in it through the progress of the garden actually being completed. But I wanted to show you guys it's all planted, it's all done, and it's beautiful. I wanted to tell you guys the story about how I got here. This is not my first garden ever. This is 9 years in the making of me starting off in tiny little raised beds. We built them from scrap pieces that we got from a lumber yard. It started in a very trial and error series of my life. I got into gardening. I grew up with gardening all my life and I wanted to start it once we got married. So I started in pots. I grew in containers. I grew in green stalks. I grew in all kinds of different types of beds. So we first started at our old house that we bought, and we started with, I think they were 4x6 scrap wood, like I said, raised beds, and they probably wouldn't last very long, but it was something I could start with, and it was on a hillside, so we had to like dig them into the hill. And then from there we actually got these really pretty raised beds built at the old house, and I'll drop in pictures and some videos from the old stuff. If you've been here all along, you're gonna know where the story started, how I got to here. But if you're new, I did not start with this garden. And this is, like I said, it's been 9 years for me to get to this point. This whole space was actually a horse pasture when we first bought this property. Our first garden that we ever put in was right where the garden sits now. You can imagine there was fence here, and I'll pop in videos and stuff like that to bring you guys along, but there was black fence that ran along kind of the slope of the hill here along the shop. We put my first garden in, so we took the fence away. Mike's parents built their new house. We had this whole open space that we wanted to put a garden in. We didn't actually live here at the moment, and when we put the first garden in, it was all in-ground rows, but it felt like a raised bed garden does with its spaces. We made rows, came up with a design, and that's what I started with. Kind of where I'm standing right now it was horse pasture. If you look from this side all the way to the other side, you can actually see where the fence is over there. It wrapped all the way down through here, and that was all horse pasture. None of this was here. We started with, like I said, gardens in the ground. The challenges with in-ground gardening, if you have flat area, it's not that hard, but if you're on a slope like we are, all of our property slopes down. The only flat areas are where the house sits and our driveway, but currently everything else is on a slope, so I've never actually had truly flat ground to work with. There was a lot of rain, it would wash out like crazy. My beds were in the ground, and so it was really hard to catch the water. We didn't have this area up here that we actually have a nice mound now and a catch basin. All the water that comes off the driveway gets gathered into one thing, and we had to put this in. We put this in to try to save the old garden before we actually came up with this idea, but you can kind of tell, like when we did the dirt work for this portion here, we mounded it. The water could come down and catch all in this one place. Now it's all going in there. There's a giant drain that goes underground, comes out into the pasture. So all the water that we deal with on the hill slope now can come down and be gathered into one place. We have so far not had any washouts with this garden. It's been amazing, actually. We've learned a lot. Don't give yourself a hard time when you're putting in gardens. You just have to learn. One thing I will recommend is before you put your space in, look at what the rain does. If it washes out certain areas, know that kind of stuff before you put gardens in. We didn't really think about that because it was a big space, and we were like, oh, let's just put this giant garden in, and we were all excited. So we didn't take a lot of time to watch what the slopes do with the water and the rain and all of that stuff. So tip for you guys putting in new spaces. So originally we did not come up with the raised bed design that is here now. When we first started thinking about this whole project, we just wanted flat space. We just wanted flat space that we can actually it's flat, no hills, no rolling, no anything like that. And so we had him dig it out. We had a kind of sloped space. It was sloped to a little bit to where the water would still drain off, because my original plan was to still put the garden in the ground. It wasn't to do a giant raised bed garden. And then when we looked at it, it was like, this is not actually what we want. This is it's still sloped. It's not going to do the same thing. It's not actually completely flat. So we had him come back. And when we originally did the measurements, the garden sits 40 by 40, and that is to the edge of the beds. Well, when you're doing a pad like this, we don't know a lot about dirt work, but you need walking spaces around because we're on a hill. So all of the walls, if you look around, are all, sloped. And as we were going along, Mike asked me this question. He's like, is this actually your dream garden? Because originally, and I'll put the progression of my drawings up here so you guys can see how this kind of went along. But originally, why?
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
So originally, when I started drawing it, I just made the garden in rows, and that was what we were going to do. So we're like, well, let's do raised beds, and I drew them in rows, kind of how my old garden looked like. And I was like, oh, you're right. If I actually think about it, that is not what I would say is my dream garden. It was funny because a while ago, when we were possibly going to build a house on the backside of our property, I drew a garden. And I forgot about like the layout, but when I redrew the garden, it actually came out to be the exact same garden that I drew when we were originally going to build a house and do the garden over and have it all in the back part of our property. As the excavation project was happening, we decided, you know what, we're just going to do an entire flat pad and do gravel. And then we were talking to Mike's brother, and he mentioned a turf. So we were like, well, if we do that, then the pad has to have gravel, so it needs to be completely flat. So then we were like, you know what, we're this far in, we might as well just go all the way. And so we made the decision to put a big investment. Like, this garden is not something that I would tell people to build as your first time garden. Like, this has been a dream of mine for, like I said, almost 10 years now. And we didn't get to this point in the beginning. We were like, oh, like, we'll kind of do it and we'll put some money into it, but not too much. And then finally we decided, you know what, it's going to be here. We're going to live here for a long time. And so we were like, let's spend the money. So we did, and the project evolved, and we ended up putting quite a bit of money into it, and it was an investment. So we decided we're going to do the cedar wood, the beds, the arches, the turf, the whole pad, and all of that stuff. This is what it came out to be. So if you look on both sides, there's a 4-foot walkway all the way around the garden. So you have lots of space on either side. This was actually the excavator's idea, was the rock wall. We were looking at different things because we didn't want to do a giant retaining wall. We didn't want to do a giant retaining wall. We had that at our old house. We did not love it. It's just a big drop off. With the kids, this is easier. They can climb it if they want to. They're not going to fall off anything and hurt themselves. And if they do, it's not going to be much. So we still have a little bit of work to do, but like the edges will be more straight, like the tops and like this side over here. So that was a really cool idea. Really like that. And then on the top, we had the lavender border that was originally part of my garden put on the top there. Okay, so the arch was part of it from the get-go. I definitely wanted an arch at the beginning, because I had my other garden and I had you'll actually see it, the panels all the way down through, and I wanted to build this big arch. My goal is to have these roses. So these are climbing roses. I do want to add 2 more because then, I have fail safes. If one dies, then I still have another one growing up. But in about 3 years, they will completely grow on top of the arch, and you'll have this beautiful archway of fragrant smelling roses. These are all David Austin roses. They have an amazing scent to them. Highly recommend if you're looking for roses. The beds here are actually built into the arch. You can see it's all trimmed in really well. We had a it's a construction crew that's local here. They're all brothers, which is so cool, but they came and they built all the beds, because Mike and I, not our strong suit. We can build it, but we are not into building extravagant things. And then we were like, oh my gosh, this is so much money. Western red cedar is the wood that we used. And then they actually, you can see here, they had brackets made that are inside. They're metal, and so it hides it really well. You can't really see it on the beds, so it's really, really nice. But those go every 4 feet. Okay, let's start on this side. These beds, they're all custom built, and they were all carried down here from the top. I have square beds. I have these giant L beds that wrap around the back. And currently right now, pretty much all the beds are growing. There are some things that didn't work, so we gotta redo those, but we're trying tomatoes like this year instead of the panels with the T-posts, just because it looks a little prettier. But I actually repurposed my arches that I had in the original garden. I cut 2 sections off of them so they would fit down into my 4-foot beds. With the trim, it's a little smaller, so we had to cut them off a little bit. And then I still have my vertical growing spaces. They're all 22 inches high, which is really nice. They have a top, and there's like the top isn't the wide like trim pieces like these, so it's really nice. Keeps it tucked a little bit more. The walkways are all 2 feet back here, and then the big open spaces, we have like more 4-foot sections, 5-foot sections. But yeah, so here's another big L bed that goes all the way around, and the turf installed really, really well.
Why turf?
This was actually Mike's part of the whole project. I wanted to put grass in, and when we thought about it, it was just like, how do we protect the bed? So we were going to put this like flashing material that you actually use for roofing on the bottom of the beds, and then you'd have to string trim, and what if the mower wrecks into it, and all of this other stuff. And we just didn't want to destroy our beautiful cedar wood beds. So Mike was like, you know what if we do turf? And I was like, I'm not really, one way or the other, so I didn't really care to do turf or grass, but this is definitely the less maintenance way. But here you can see like these open really nice. You have space in here. I want to do like a little bistro set that sits out here. I have a little umbrella for the kids, so there's shade. It is completely flat. It is one of the only flat areas on our entire property, which is fantastic. But yeah, everything's growing really well. The soil is Hayseed Hank, which is a compost soil kind of blend. It's a raised bed blend. A lot less expensive than the top. There's a bumblebee.
Huh?
Look at that.
Oh, so cute that says fake grass.
Yeah, ich habe schon. It's just fake.
Wait, what?
What are you eating?
It's
Do you know what they're called?
It's like an eating flower that is spicy.
Oh, nice. Eat it.
Eat it. Nasturtium flowers. There you go. What do you think about the garden, Viviana?
I think more than the garden, I think the garden needs us to like water it each day.
Yeah.
And then like plant more stuff and have more fun in here. But if you would lay down, nobody could see you in here.
Yeah, it is. It is really secluded. So yeah, and then like I said, you can go out to the outsides. You have the gravel walkways along the outsides. Eventually, I don't know, we might put big pavers in as stepping stones, but it's really nice. I have my towers down here. There's Viviana. There's strawberries ready. So it's really nice because the towers are easy.
Are you eating all the flowers?
No, they grow.
Vitamin C for the win. Vitamin C for the win.
Come on, don't eat it.
Yeah.
Eat it.
You said don't eat it.
She's doing all of them. All of them.
The strawberry's not going to be good now.
Why?
Not after she ate all that.
I don't know. Yeah, everything's level. Everything's straight. The aerial view, which you guys will see the drone shots from this garden, are fantastic. It's like the most aesthetically pleasing thing we've ever built. Very happy with it. It just makes me smile every time I get to come down here. As you can tell, there's a bunch of stuff growing in the garden right now. I will take you guys through and show you guys all the things, tell you what all the things are, what came from seedlings, what was direct sown, stuff like that. We'll do that in another video, but this is just like highlighting what the garden space actually is. So let's actually go over here. I added these spaces because my heart just can't leave open dirt alone. So I had to put some in-ground spaces in because I like to grow in both, and I'll show you guys the other side of the garden, what we came up with. This is a work in progress down here because we're not 100% sure if we're gonna leave the grass or if we're gonna do some sort of other kind of walkways and stuff through. But these are all tomatoes growing in the panels that you guys were used to if you've been here. But basically we just grow them on the panels and then tape them to the panels. So we're using garden tape, tying them off. So that's that space. It's still a work in progress. Not 100% sure what it'll turn into, but on this side, these are all done. We're also trying this method, like the lavender. I have different perennial plants along the border here to kind of just like soften the rock edges. I want to plant some different stuff like into the rocks and see if it'll help just soften the edges of the rocks. This space is all in ground over here, and we ended up going with grass because it's easier to just mow down through. So we measured everything, made sure the push mower could fit down through the rows. We brought the dirt in. This is also hayseed hank. We had a couple places where we added the Coast of Maine raised bed mix. So the cast line blend is actually what I used for the top, I would say probably 4 inches of each bed. That was mixed in. Fantastic product. I have never had a product show that significant of a difference in growth, because I did an experiment last year. I did carrots and I did 1 row without the blend and I did another row with the blend, and it was just insane. I was just blown away by the progress. This is all basically flowers, and then we have potatoes in here, but this lets me do in-ground planting at larger scale kind of stuff. This soil does not have the cast line blend everywhere on the top of it. We have some little baby sunflowers blooming. Really pretty. I'm so excited to see all the butterflies and bees again down here. So we'll see. Not 100% sure how this is going to do. You can kind of tell the grass down here, our native soil is clay. And so it's really hard. You have to amend and stuff like that. But this is what it turned out to look like. And I'm so thrilled. I think it turned out more than we could have even imagined. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. We had to work against some weather and stuff like that, but it was totally worth it. And yeah, the videos coming will be a lot of just planting as the progress was going on, and then just more so everything that's happening in the garden, bringing you guys along, showing you what's happening, showing you what's growing. And I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Thanks for following along, and welcome to me living my dream garden.
The end.
The end.